All right, purists, let's go for a ride and talk about, you just bought a Saleen, well, Fox Saleen, and now what? You need parts. Let's talk about that, because I'm riding in the project that we need parts for. So, you bought a Saleen, a Fox Saleen. First off, congratulations. Welcome to the club of owning a car that you're going to have a hard time finding parts for. Might need to put my seatbelt on. It's interesting because these cars have a lot of unique parts. All the Fox Saleens are hand built. There were a lot of changes along the way from 84, or the first three that were built, all the way to 93. Late in that production, things got a little better as far as standards being made and that kind of stuff. Oh, here we go. Got an 18-wheeler blocking the road. Yeah, this is fun. Well, the challenge is this. You bought a car and you can't just open up a catalog, if you're old school, or go online and just order a TMI interior kit for a car like this. There's so many different unique parts that these cars require to be correct. I've owned this car for 2 years. Just now at the Saleen Nationals picked up the correct rear spoiler for it. 2 years. The interior, I'm piecing together from a used interior that I bought from a good friend of mine. Thankfully he had one just sitting in the wings. Otherwise I would still be looking for parts. The headrests were gone from this car. The hood, it's this. All of these cars were used cars at some point, especially if they were like this one where they were rode hard and put up wet. You ended up having an aftermarket hood on them, or typical mods were done because they're just regular 5-liter cars, just like the other 5 liters that are out there. But the thing is that all of those changes, if you're trying to put it back to original, you end up spending a lot of money on the Saleen cars because you're not going to find what you need that's Saleen specific online, except for a decal kit and maybe ground effects if you're buying it from Saleen, because that's all they have. So finding where you need to get parts is always a challenge with these cars. All of the unique pieces, the shift knob, the seats, the door panels, the wheels, the suspension, the springs, the ground effects. And then when you get into the later years with the 92, 93s, the wheels get really expensive because there's basically 2 years of production with stern wheels, speedline wheels, and if you're lucky enough, you own a car with a set of Logic wheels on it. But those wheels can run you, I don't know, $5,000 a set. So it's very difficult if you're on a fast track to get one of these cars into shape, because it will take deep pockets. mainly because parts are not just going to be for sale unless you go to somebody who doesn't want to sell and you make them a, as I call it, tomorrow's money today offer. So to me, it's one of those situations where, okay, when you get the car, what do you do with it? Which route do you take? Do you modify it just like a regular 5-liter? And there's a lot of people that do that, and that's fine. But the thing is that if you're wanting to go back original, which I'm in that camp to an extent, I mean, let's be honest, these cars, they don't perform very well. 200 horsepower, are you kidding me? There are a lot of minivans on the road nowadays that'll actually outrun this thing. But add a period correct supercharger, maybe a modern camshaft, but make it look period correct. Now that's what I like. How do you find the pieces that you need to get the car with? One, you have to be patient. And I think that's the thing that gets most people in this hobby, is they get in a rush, especially in the Saleen community. I know several people have bought project cars in the last 2 or 3 years and ended up selling them because, well, they couldn't afford to fix them, or they couldn't find the parts that they wanted. There's a lot of things that are typical 5-liter problems that are a cost associated to fixing the car. Then you have what I would call the Saleen tax. If you're looking for wheels, if you're looking for seats, and by the way, if you've got an 87 to 89 Saleen, there isn't a material out there that matches. But you can't find the original material. So if you want an original material car, you got to buy a complete interior, or do what I've done with this and find an interior that you can actually take to an upholstery shop and have them remove panels from seats and put them in to make one good set. But it's a challenge to find all of that stuff. That's the problem with these cars. They're like the old Shelbys. There are specific parts you can't get out of a regular Mustang or out of a catalog. The Saleen wings, for instance. Finding a correct Saleen wing. You gotta know what you're looking for. The good thing about Saleen Mustangs is this: when it comes to the brakes, heck, even the suspension components, shocks and struts, if you don't have the original springs to the car, you could go into a good online resource like Maximum Motorsports or Griggs Racing and order coilovers or weight jacker arms in the rear to be able to get the factory ride height back into place so that it looks the part. So that's one of the things that's a benefit to a Fox, is the aftermarket support. It's not going to be 100% correct. And if you got a car like this, you just want to be able to drive and enjoy it. That's one thing you can definitely do, is you can open up a catalog of suspension parts, heck, even go fast goodies in the engine. Change them all out, make it run. But when you get into the Saleen specific parts, that's where you have to be patient and where things have to be connected to your Saleen community. There were so many changes through the 10-year run of Foxes with Saleen that it's just not possible for them to hold the catalog of parts. And for example, the 84s and early 85s have different ground effects. You can see that in some of the videos that Mark and I have talked about those cars, and a couple of them, well, the first 85 Saleen built, 4th Saleen ever built, car number 7. So those specific things, there's 3 different 85 air dams. And then the 86 has two different. You have early 86, late 86. And then the interiors, the steering wheel. It changed from a Wolf steering wheel, 4-spoke, to the Momo in 86 with a 3-spoke. So the 3-spoke wheels carried all the way through 89. If you get that, and it's all worn out, you'd pay a fortune to get it recovered because it has to be hand stitched, or pay a fortune for a really nice original wheel. But the key is doing what you want, right? I mean, there are a lot of guys out there that they want them better than factory new. They don't want overspray under the hood. They want it to be a perfect paint job under the hood. I'm not that guy. I want things to look original. I want it to look like it's sitting on the showroom floor. Not better than new, but as it was when it was new. But up and coming for this car, we finally got all the parts. All the parts. Chrome valve covers, the upper intake, the supercharger. We had the headers recoated. We've got the Dynamax mufflers to put on it that we like, that were actually part of the package. They may have put these Flowmasters on it, but I like the Dynamax better. Interior, we've got to get this seat, the driver's seat now, we've got to take it out. We're going to take it to the upholstery shop. There's a lot of things that we can get done on this car now that we have all the parts to put it together. And I think the goal for this car, we're going to do it on a budget. I want to do it as if somebody's doing it in their garage. I don't want to paint it. I'm only going to paint what I need to paint. I'm only going to paint what I need to paint to try to keep it as a low budget fixer-upper. I don't want to do it where I'm doing a full restoration like I did on number 4, almost 4. Because I'd like to still drive it. I'd like to enjoy it. But make it look like we'll just take the mileage off of it a little bit at a time. That's the goal. But do it on a budget. But the big thing is this. If you get a Saleen Mustang, it's very akin to an old Shelby, an old Ferrari, or an old Porsche. You got to be patient because there are specific parts that make it look complete, make it look correct, and they are out there. Me finding that double stack wing on this car is an example of that. And a friend of mine, who I have befriended in the process of buying that, call him a friend now, Rick, didn't want to sell it, but because the car needed it, he was willing to let go of it. So it's really important to get involved in the Saleen community because, let's be honest, owners choose where they want parts to go and cars to go. Sometimes it takes years to build a relationship to get the car that you wanted.